Police in Truckee County, Nevada are putting an AI-driven technology to work to help fight crime.
It is called the Condor, a live video and license plate recognition device that scans license plates and the developer says finds criminals faster. Taylor Burke explains.
This technology is really like a game changer.
Connor Metz, the public information officer with Flock Safety, tells me that license plate readers are able to reduce crime faster and on a larger scale than a police force alone.
It's a motion-activated camera that takes still images of passing vehicles and compares those vehicles' license plates to state and national databases to see if the vehicle is associated with a known wanted suspect, if the vehicle's stolen, if the vehicle is associated with a missing person.
Recently, the Truckee Police Department has installed these readers, and already they've noticed a difference, catching many hit and runs and even an attempted murder.
An investigator can actually go into the Flock Safety system and they can query for, in this certain area around this certain time, were there any vehicles matching that description, blue sedan roof rack? And then that can generate leads for them.
If the system detects a match, the department is notified within just 20 seconds, freeing up time for officers to spend on bigger investigations with less manpower.
You talk to any police department, they'll tell you they're having a lot of trouble retaining folks on the force. You can have more police officers going and following up good objective evidence and less time on wild goose chases.
Metz says that 90% of stolen vehicle cases are associated with other illegal acts, allowing the device to cut down on secondary crime using objective, actionable evidence.
We all know that eyewitness testimony can be not that great. Folks can forget license plate numbers very easily, for example, in a very stressful and hectic environment.